Hey YouTube, today I have the honor of showcasing a build I made on FilthyCoin's server. He asked me if I would be interested in contributing to his massive city project of Soror, a city rich with lore and legends. Jumping at the opportunity, I wanted to build a carpenter's shop, so here's a time-lapse video and show around of the build, including a very brief history of medieval carpentry. Woodworking has been a craft used by humans since the dawn of time, from constructions of shelters to weapons. Hewing is the oldest form of turning logs into beams. Turning logs into beams required a lot of work and precision cutting using axes to square off the log. The first step would be to remove the bark from the log. The next step would be to mark a line off on the log using a taut string which is covered in chalk or charcoal, which would mark off the shape of the beam, making sure there are two lines opposite of each other at a predetermined distance apart from one another. The next step is to remove the parts of the log that are outside of the marked lines using an axe. Woodworkers would score down the side of the log with the axe, which would make removing larger chunks of the log easier and more uniform. Once all four sides of the beam are complete, the carpenter will go over the sides with a smaller tool to get a very flat face of the beam, and even in some ornate beams, add in carving decorations. Or they could turn the beams into planks or smaller beams if needed. At around the 12th century, turning logs into beams became easier as woodworkers used a big saw in teams of two over a trestle. A trestle is now commonly known as a sawhorse. It was at this time that building technique changed from earth-fast buildings where they put posts in the ground to timber frame buildings such as the Tudor-style buildings in medieval England. Medieval carpenters were generally focused on a specific specialty. A furniture maker would make chairs, tables, cupboards, and other furniture, including chests or trunks, depending on the era and status of the person living in the medieval times. The chest would sometimes double as a seat and or a bed. Other carpenters would specialize in making fences which could be used to mark boundaries for even giant defensive palisade walls. Another example of specific specialties for carpenters were shipbuilders and coopers who would make builds for mead, ale, or wine. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that time-lapse video and a little information on the history of carpentry in medieval times. I have the best opportunity to be able to build on FilthyCoin's server in the city of Soror. I decided to do a building first before I start exploring around the world a little bit and getting to know his builds and stuff like that, but I wanted to be able to contribute to the server for a little bit before being able to show it off. So here we are at the carpentry that you saw the time lapse on. With what I've done here on the outside is a very small amount of decorating, not really too much here. It is layered down so that it has a gentle sloping effect with a small garden. I'm not using shaders because shaders is very resource intensive on the server for me, and until I upgrade my PC I don't think I'll use shaders on the server, but that's fine with me. I think Conquest Reforged still looks amazing and the Victory mod still looks amazing even without shaders. So I'm just going to show off this build of the Careful Carpenter. That's the name of the carpentry shop. As you saw on the time lapse, I just did the basic part of the building. I added on after the time lapse, changed a little bit around, and added in some more small fine details to really turn it into what I would like. This tree here I did not build. I'm not great at building trees. I took this from a repository they have, and I just added in some variant blocks here to make it a little bit different, and added in some roots, but this is not my build. So I can't take credit for that. The ground here will probably change as the road has not been built. So just to see what texture this is, as we are currently on the outskirts of the city of Soror, we are placed down right in this section, and the main city is right on over here. So there is so much to explore, but I would never do a walkthrough of it all. I might show individual buildings, but I suggest that you join Filthy Coin's Discord and get to know them, and especially get to watch his channel of his builds and stuff. He does magnificent buildings and some amazing types of videos inside his city, like story videos. That's the best I can do to describe them, but I'm a big fan. So right on this cart outside is I made a cart for the carpentry shop, where they put on stuff that's going to be delivered to people who have ordered items. And it isn't anything too fancy. I'm sure someone has a better design than me, but I just thought I wanted to add in a little more detail to this. I'm very happy with how it turned out. On the opposite side of this tree here, we have a small storage area for big lumber pieces and scrap pieces over there that are going to be cut down. And it is protected from the elements, the rain, with that overhang there. I'm very happy with how that turned out. And coming in over here, there's a small bench area to sit outside and relax, and maybe if they have firewood or anything, they could really just cut it up right here. In this small section, excuse me if I'm lagging for a second, this small section, outer part here, is another woodworking area where they'd cut the logs down into even smaller sides and maybe have like extra storage here, including up here for more wood to keep it dry and out of the elements as well. I really do like on how this turned out in this small workshop here. The server doesn't really tend to use paintings because it causes lag. So I try not to use them as much, but make it look like there are notices and stuff. I still hung one there, as well as using blocks from the victory mod around as well. Like this one here. I really like this. So we aren't going to go in this way. We're going to go around over into another part of it. This here is the outer part of the workshop. I really don't know how to describe this. The workshop is divided up in 3 parts. Like, they'd have one worker out there cutting the area, one worker in here maybe just whittling down the wood into finer pieces and stuff, and starting to get the lumber pieces that they need, cut it down into what they need, and stuff in this section here. And I really do like on how it turned out. Yes, I did use some paintings, as I mentioned. I try to stay away from doing that, and I used as many victory mod blocks that were appropriate within this build. This right here is called a poleaxe. A poleaxe was used in medieval times and may even be used now at some carpenters who enjoy the old-fashioned way of carpentry. To be able to get the carvings into like the legs of chairs or tables or stuff to make them look more ornate, they'd use a pole-axe. So they'd attach the wood there, and basically like an old-fashioned sewing machine, they'd step down right on that bottom piece there, allowing the rope to move this piece here up and down, and you can see they have the chisels here, and they'd run the chisel there, allowing for a great ornate detail to the wood that they are trying to carve down into a specific design. So I just wanted to include that because that would be part of the carpentry job back then, or even here in Soror. And I'm really happy on how this inner area is, and it is protected by a outer door here and a gate here, so people cannot just come in and take things like robbers or anything like that. And this section here is a storage room and an area where they probably would assemble some things. The furniture in here, like we have a bed, some more tables, dressers, stuff like that they're putting together for people for orders and stuff, and a little seating area over here for the workers for when they want to relax between working a little bit for a few minutes, maybe during some downtime or whatever. And this is one of Filthy Coin's paintings up here, the top one. I really like it. And what's cool about the paintings is that you can actually go in when searching. He told me you can go in to the search part. If you look at the specific kind, you can do the size if you know the size, and you can see all the different types here. And they all have names too. So if you also have a favorite painting and you remember the name, you can search for it that way as well. And what's great about these is that these are block states, I believe he said they were, instead of entity state, which means that it cuts down on lag and FPS issues that Minecraft is known to have. So what I'm going to do is go back out this way because I want to show a different part of the downstairs of the carpentry area. Upstairs is the living area, we'll go up there next, but this part here is more of the office. A place where people who would come in and place their orders and pick up orders and stuff, they'd walk right on in and say what they're looking for. And they probably would have a planner sitting right on over here, just drawing up some designs, and they could wait there on the bench outside. And while they draw up the design, they might put it down on the desk and say, does this look like what you'd like? And the person could be like, oh yes, this is what I'd like, and they'd get it signed off on, keep a record of orders being worked on or future orders, anything like that, and obviously like a ledger for how much things are. So that's what I wanted to create in this section here, like a small office where people could come in and say, I need a new table, I need a new chair, I need something, an ornate dresser. Do you have ones available? Or they could make custom ones too, and the designer would go over the designs with them. And many of these blocks are from Filthy Coin as well. And I'm really happy with how the downstairs of this turned out. I've been trying to use more jut outs in my builds and stuff, and I think I succeeded here. So I'm very happy with it. So we'll head on up to the second floor, which is the living quarters for the carpenter. Coming on in, we would have what is now known as the living room, minus the TV. I thought being a carpenter, there'd be more ornate things, since why not? He's a carpenter, works with wood. They'd have the knowledge and know-how on how to do it, and if they ever had any guests a carpenter without like ornate wood paneling or anything like that, I don't think would be a great carpenter, at least in a big city of Soror like this. And these two are my favorite paintings from the Victory mod here. They're called Brothers and Family, I believe. But they're 2x2, and I love them because I'm a big fan of dogs. Coming on over here, using the Victory mod, I made a small couch. It is using a bed headrest as well. I thought that'd be pretty cool to have like a sit-down couch for the family to be able to sit here. And over at this section here is a small little reading nook with some pillows and a stuffed bear that's part of the Victory mod here that I thought would be really cool, like a little small play area in the living section. And then maybe a small table that they could pull out and people could sit here and pull the table out and they'd be able to play games on it or whatever, but or if it's like work time, someone could work in this section here. And what I love about the Victory mod as well is these boots. Being able to have them in different block states allows it to make the build look very lived in and messy. And I really do like that. Coming on into the next room, we come into the kitchen. And I'm really happy with how this turned out, with tall ceilings here. A nice wash basin and a bucket for water, which is empty at the time. And different cupboards and things that they would need. And using many filthy coins block states as well. So I'm really happy with how the kitchen turned out here. And then in this part was the last part that I built with a small bathroom. I'm not really good at remembering to build bathrooms in my builds. I know when I was touring Druss Rua's plot, he had bathrooms everywhere. That's one thing I always forget is bathrooms. And it's like, how do they go to the bathroom here? So I was like, okay. I was doing jut outs, so I added in the bathroom to this build here. And coming on over here, we have a small storage section for like goods and stuff, and a traveling satchel for when they bring orders and stuff to market or to someone's house or whatever. And in here is the master bedroom, using the Filthy Coins bed and other blocks too. And I really like on how it turned out here. So we'll head on upstairs. There is another floor. Coming up here we have a small storage section, as well as a little more area for storage if they need it. And we have a small study for the children and more play area here. With this carpenter living in such a big city, I would think that they would have money and being able to get an education or something. They would be able to afford a study and stuff and have a place to store their trinkets and toys, games and books or whatever they would need. So this family is very well off and taken care of. And then in here is the bedroom of the children. And I'm very happy with how this turned out. And I think one of my favorite parts of this is how the windows go right to the floor to ceiling, especially on this floor. I really like it. So It turned out to be a pleasant surprise because it was much taller than I thought it would be than what I originally planned, but I was very happy with how it turned out. So if you have access to the server, you can come and visit this section, and I do hope you enjoy the build. If you do come and visit it, you're more than welcome to me. And we're just gonna head on out and back down the stairs. And with that being said, thank you for joining me on another video. If you have enjoyed it, leave a like and a thumbs up. Well, that is a like. Thumbs up is a like. Yeah, anyway, leave a like, leave a comment on what you'd like to see next. I'm going to be doing another build on this server, but I will also be returning back to Kingdoms of Caelum and continuing on that. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and hit that bell notification so you can stay up to date with my videos and releases. And until the next one, I'll see you later. Bye.